What's going on? Peace, love, and light, family. It is Monty MP3 Proctor, and this is the 360 Creative Podcast, where I have interesting conversations with my favorite creatives from all walks of life who are multifaceted, multi talented, and just transcending their space. Today, I have one of the most solid people I have met in LA. And with a resume like his, he has a reason to feel some sort of way. But this is one of the most solid people that you ever want to meet. A dear friend of mine, a true friend of mine. You have seen him in the Young Blue video. I mean, you have seen him in everything from The Way We Work to He's All That. I mean, mystery has a name. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Mr. Calvin John is in the building. Round of applause for this man right here.
My brother, please. Thank you so much. That was very kind, brother. I really appreciate the love.
Oh man, yo, gotta give it up. Gotta give honor where honor is due, and you've been a huge inspiration for me, even still being in LA. And you've left.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, but we,
It's-
we're we're gonna get into that, man. So just tell me, when did, especially as far as the acting bug, when did you know that you had it?
that's a good question because initially when I first moved to LA, it wasn't really to pursue entertainment. It was more off of, business because it's a big city and a lot of opportunities. I know a lot of people go over there to just make things happen. There's so much going on in LA. But it wasn't until I got out of college, I dropped out because I just seen a better way for my life and what I was studying wasn't really resonating with me at the time. So fast forward when I moved to LA during that college and I was out of college, I was kind of, exploring to seeing what other skill sets that I can pick up. And one thing happened to be that modeling was on the page, right? I was very confident in myself and I felt that I could possibly get into modeling, right? Because I've always been this, fitness type of person and who doesn't appreciate a nice physique, right? So when I got into that space and started working with, smaller photographers to kind of get that image to see how what I would perform behind a camera, I started to see some potential there. I was just like, oh, this looks good, this looks good. And as I got more and more into it, I started building more confidence, right? To then where when I moved to LA, not only did I had business in mind, but I also seen the opportunity for entertainment, right? Because I just didn't know, right? I didn't know what was out there, so I had to kind of work my way up. After working with so many photographers and just gaining that confidence, one thing I learned about being a model in LA is that acting and modeling goes hand in hand. Because I would go to certain gigs and photo shoots where they would have me perform an act, right? They'd say, pretend like you're doing this, pretend like you're doing that, and they'll take pictures of it. And in my head, I'm like, this is just like acting, but there's no video, right? It's just a camera. Now, those two
Yeah.
go in hand. So what I like to tell every model out there is that if you think you don't have the talent to act and you've done photo shoots before, part of that is acting. If you work for stock photographers, if you work with just brands in general, maybe it's fitness or lifestyle, especially lifestyle, right? Just like a broad spectrum of different types of photo shoots. Like you will require some type of acting ability. So once I noticed that, I was just like, well, if I'm acting in these photo shoots, I might as well go into acting itself, the craft itself, right? And then that's when I realized,
Mm.
like, hey, like I can do more than just take photos. I can potentially be on commercials, TV shows, music videos, movies, right? So it was only through photo shoots that I realized that it's well connected with acting and that I'd have to kind of incorporate some of that skill itself. And then I just immersed myself. I want to say about 2 years into modeling, I immersed myself into acting and started just going reading about it, listening to podcasts about it, watching videos on it, studying different type of actors, right? Figuring out what kind of characters that I could play as well. Like I got real immersed into that craft, right? And then I started going to
Hmm.
classes, getting acting, different skills fine-tuned, and then it's all business as well. So one thing I tell models is like if you are looking into getting into the entertainment industry, preferably acting and modeling, it's very big on business. You can have a great look, you can say the great things, but if you're not business minded and business oriented, like you can either take advantage of, you can either like miss out on a lot of big opportunities, miss out on a lot of connections and networking as well. So it's really big
Yeah.
into that business space. But if you have a craft and you enjoy acting, there's something there for you. So that's what kind of led me to down that road of acting.
Yo, that's so cool, man. So take me back. You moved to LA. Usually people come to LA to make it, but was there a catalyst or like was there somebody in your corner that was kind of edging you or egging you on to go to LA?
Well, at the time, I was with my ex-wife, and we both were just
Hmm.
madly in love with each other. At one point, we were both in college. That's where we both met in college, and we were just kind of figuring out like how about going about living together, a living situation, because we're two college kids madly in love, trying to figure out what's the next move from us. She was from out of the country, right? I was from out of the state. So neither of us had family there, right? So we had to figure out what would be the best move for us both, where we both can do what we wanted to do. And she was a photographer, and I was getting into modeling, right? She was just going to school for photography, right? So it happened to be a really good situation because we complemented each other so well. You got one who's an actor,
Hmm.
model, you got one who's a photographer, right? Coming together, we were able to
Right.
work together, right? And help each other, right? Help each other in this space of entertainment, get our feet wet, get our experience, our portfolios built up. But she was really there to kind of show me like the good side of me, and taking pictures of me to show me my confidence and potential, right? That definitely helped immensely, right? And I helped her in her own way because up until us meeting, she never photographed people. She always photographed like locations, buildings, like scenery. It was never people. And then once we got more work together, she started shooting more and more and more people. So it was really nice to
Hmm.
have that compliment, where we were able to kind of work with each other in the field in entertainment. So that kind of brought us closer as a couple, business wise, and just working our skill sets together.
And so when you started to immerse yourself in this world of acting, do you remember what was the first gig that you landed where it just made you want to keep going?
Hmm. It's a good question, bro. There's so much. I could tell you what really stuck out to me the most.
Yeah.
It was I worked with this one Swedish singer, and I guess my wife shot for her because she was pregnant and she had a kid and a
Hmm.
husband, and she did a photo shoot for them, right? And this was in LA. And she needed like a guy, like a male, for her music video. Shout out to Lady Bella. I'm pretty sure that's her name. And
Okay. Shout out Lady Bella.
shout out Lady Bella for the first gig ever, right? And it was great. I enjoyed time on set. I came in there, as this male masculine figure for the video that she needed, and she did great as well. With her music was well. Wardrobe, hair and makeup, everybody, the videographer as well, working with us. This was like my first time ever being behind a video recording camera. You know what I mean? So I really had to act, right? It really forced me to be like, get uncomfortable and really act, right? And I had a really cool experience. It was really fun. We ate and talked and just kind of got built rapport. And I was a bit uncomfortable because it was like the first time that my ex-wife had to see me in a situation where another woman was probably grooming on me or just like, like
Mm.
just being as if we're together in the video.
Yeah.
So it was a little
Hmm.
awkward, but in my head, I'm like, all right, this is acting, right? You have to just get into it and you have to, don't let outside circumstances affect you in the present moment of what you're trying to, convey to the audience, right? And once we were able
Yeah.
to do that, once we were to, break that comfort zone, that wall, right? We created a really good video. She enjoyed it. She enjoyed the time, and I believe I did really good for my first time being in front of a camera. But I remember my ex-wife taking behind the scenes photos, and me looking at these photos. I'm like, wow, like I'm really doing this. Like I'm really like actually pursuing something that's worthy of a career. Like this looks like
You saw yourself in your
I
zone.
saw myself in my zone and I really like what I saw. I was just like, wow, like this looks really cool. Like there's a picture too as well. And I looked at this picture, I was like, damn, this looks really good. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, right? So when I looked at the
Yeah.
photos, that gave me that vision. I'm like, oh, like I can do this. This is the first gig that
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do more of this. I had so much fun. I got paid what people would get paid in 2 weeks in one like 3 hours, 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, well, let's see how we can go about doing more of this. Let's see what we can do as far as like getting my feet wet. So that was my first
Hmm.
first music video. It was like she's an R&B singer and she just put your boy, basically on the map, giving him, his first gig and just kind of like, making me realize that there is a huge, potential to my future and what I could do with this. So shout out to Lady Bella.
I will say the the music video work and the music video catalog of which you have been able to be a part of. I mean, what year?
I want to say 2017, 2016. It had to be 2016 because this was like OG me. This was like before I even was people knew me. You know what I mean? This was literally just like the first thing, and then that it just went off from there. It had to be 2016.
Of course, in acting, and this is one of the things that people don't talk about. All right, 2016, you experienced this high, and you know that this is something that you want to do and something that you want to pursue. But when was the first time you hit a wall? Like where it was you realized that, oh man, this is a little bit more work than maybe I initially thought, or man, this I'm having to really power through to get to the other side or get to the next role.
That's another good question, man, because in the entertainment industries, you will hit multiple walls and they don't stop, honestly. And I think the biggest
Mm,
wall that I had to kind of overcome was the fact that I would apply to hundreds of castings, right? You get a breakdown on this website that shows you every casting in for every, character or, role that fits your description, right? So you'll probably go
right,
through and literally submit for like 100 castings in a week and maybe get 20 reply to you and maybe get 10 auditions and maybe book 3 or 4. You know what I mean? So it is a numbers game. And that's one thing. It's like, yeah,
for sure.
you might be really confident, you might look good, you might have, exactly what they're looking for, but it really comes down to are you perfect for the role for what they see? You know what I mean? And that's one thing I had to kind of
Right.
overcome because I realized like I would see, and not to throw shade, but I would see some people get booked for things that I feel like I could do better. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Just like, well, like it is what it is. Like you submit to so many castings and you might get booked for a very small percentage of them. So I have to overcome the fact that it's a numbers game and that I will get way more rejections than I will get, acceptings and just those gigs that I want. So I've been rejected thousands of times, but all people see is the wins. You know what I mean? So I have
Yeah.
to get rid of the fact that it wasn't me, it wasn't anything personal. Because bro, when I tell you
Mm,
like you will send out emails to these people, right? And in the beginning, you think they'll tell you like, hey, you know how you go to a job interview and then you go to the job interview,
Yeah,
right? And potentially if you're gonna get the job, they'll tell you. And if you're not gonna get the job, they'll be like send
exactly.
you an email and be like, hey, I'm sorry we moved forward with somebody else. They do not do that in acting.
Yeah,
You will
exactly.
not hear from them
Mm,
at all. You just don't hear from them. You just never, you'll never know. You don't know why. You don't know anything gonna happen. That's the one thing I had to learn about, right? I did a lot of
yeah,
in-depth talking to different people, producers and stuff like that. Anything could happen. You could remind them of somebody that they don't like. Even though you're like perfect for the role, they won't book you. You know what I mean? So it could be any reason.
yeah,
So I have to learn not to take it personal, and I have to know that, and I have to understand it's a numbers game, and that I'm not gonna, book everything that I, submit to, right? So it's definitely a numbers game. But when I hit that wall, man, I was just like, I started to get a little bit like, self doubt. Like, am I
do you
good
remember
enough?
when that was?
Huh?
Do you remember when that was?
That had to be in the beginning of me paying. Like, I went through like casting networks. It's called NAS Casting Networks now. It used to be LA Casting, but it's called Casting Networks. And I remember going on
Yeah.
there and like just like seeing all these great roles that paid really well, and I was so excited to, audition for them and just like submit to these gigs. And then I just wouldn't get no responses, or nothing would happen. You know what I mean? For weeks at a time, you won't get booked for anything sometimes. You know what I mean? And this was had to be like
Wow.
2017 when I started to like get my feet wet and really seeing if I could go about doing some acting or modeling, right? So this was like in the beginning. So it had to be like towards the end of 2017, 2018 when I was like getting myself more immersed into that. So when I realized that, all right, this is just a bump in the road and I'm just gonna have to like, figure out how to not take this personal, that's when things started getting a lot better for me, right? Because you can easily just like,
Mm,
get disappointed or just be down on yourself thinking that you're not enough. But realistically, man, you're competing against tens of thousands of actors and models out there. And
yeah.
although it's very competitive and I love the competition, I honestly do, right? Um, you won't get booked for everything, and that's just it.
What was your process to process that Calvin John, as great as you are, will not be everyone's cup of tea?
I try and go to every casting and every audition, as authentic as possible. And one thing I
Mm,
realize is like everybody is not for you and you are not for everybody. And you have to be
sheesh.
okay with that, because that your
Mm,
job is not to impress everybody and make everybody like you. That, and if it is,
right.
that is a very stressful position to be as a human, because we're very unperfect.
Yeah, how do you keep that up? Pleasing
You
everybody is
can't, man. That's like the worst
the
thing to
most
do.
exhausting thing.
Yeah, man. And to be honest with you, bro, I used to be a people pleaser, and like when I was growing up, I used to be a people pleaser. I would want everybody to like me. I would try to be my best
Yeah.
so I can, just make sure I'm on everybody's good side. But at this point in time in my life, I realize how that is kind of detrimental to your personality and who you are as a person. And you shouldn't rely
Hmm.
on that for happiness. You know what I mean? So once
Right.
I got out of that, but then when you show up authentically, people will naturally be inclined to, side with you and your personality, because they just don't feel anything fake about you. They just know you're just like, oh, like this is just who you are, and you're very, a nice person. Of course, you're respectable. You're on time.
Hmm.
You're about your business, and you take care of your health, right? You take care of yourself, like a well groomed. Like everywhere I go, well groomed, haircut, dapper down, make sure like I'm on set looking my best. I'm at my audition looking
Hmm.
my best, and people see that and they
Yeah.
notice like, all right, like you care about yourself, you have your craft, you're well put together, you speak well, we respect that you respect us, and then once you move a certain way, I think people are just kind of can identify that. But the biggest thing about it is that you have to affirm these things with yourself first. You don't have to, you shouldn't rely on people to see them in you. You should see them in yourself. It's a reflection. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like your inner is your outer. So you can tell how really people are feeling about themselves typically by how they look, maybe how they dress, how, they take care of their body. You know what I mean? Some things are more felt than said. So I think once I was able to kind of like understand self better, myself, it didn't really matter about what other people, perceived about me, and just how situations would go. Like, because I was never that person that really, cared too much about what other people thought, but more inclined to make sure that people would affirm the good in me, like I didn't know about myself. You know what I mean? So it was really interesting. It was really interesting in LA because there's a lot of that. There's so much of that. You have so many people out there who are just looking for validation, right? Looking for
Right, right,
be
right.
accepted, to be known, right? And my thing, I was never after fame, right? That was not my thing. I was never was I like, oh, I want to be famous, like, like, oh, I want to be famous, right? Because I see what it took to be famous, and I was like, I could be good. And I've met people who should be famous, and they're not. And I'm just like, oh, so
Right.
there's two sides of the coin, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did it all for purely fun and enjoyment. Like, I was literally acting and modeling was literally the only thing that I actually enjoyed throughout my career in LA. Like, it was just fun enjoyment. I wasn't even doing it I started taking it seriously like 2020 is like I actually started taking it seriously, right? 2020, and then you know what happened in 2020, COVID, right? So
Right, right.
yeah, so after that, I was just like, you know what, I could do better in other things as well, and I had my fun, I had my success, but now it's time to turn a new leaf and just go elsewhere. So
And it's crazy because by that point, you were already in an Ed Sheeran and Travis Scott project.
bro, I have unreleased things that I haven't even posted yet, like videos, photo shoots, like commercials. I just have them just to have them. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's my my collection of things, but I might end up posting some just for shits and giggles.
That's another cool part about you that I admire and that I've also adopted. You live your life, you capture as many moments as you can, and then you section things off, and you have this amazing gift of discernment about the private moments and the moments that you want to share with the world. And so I really admire that about you, brother.
Man, I got that from Gary Vee, bro.
Speak on it, bro.
I think I got that from Gary Vee because I remember him saying something about just documenting the process. And you don't even initially have to
Mm-hmm.
record it or it has to be posted, but just documenting it. But he was real big on like being in the
Document.
moment and posting and just kind of like getting it out there. And I was just like, you know what? Although I don't in the present right now gonna post this, maybe at some point I'll need to share it and somebody will need to see it, or I'll need to see it just for proof of where I've been, what I've been through, and everything like that. So let me document it now for that, and
Mm-hmm.
sometime in the near future that I might end up using that type of content for that type of purpose, or just to get a message out, or just to update people, just regular things. But yeah, man, Gary Vee, he's pushed a lot of things, and I've kind of been that person that was kind of, even though I'm like very social media savvy, like there's a lot of things that I just don't like posting, and or I just don't want to post. I just don't. I'm not in that frame.
Yeah.
I should be posting. I should be live. I should be doing all this stuff. I just like being in the moment, and I would much prefer me getting paid to do something and then posting that than like me just doing my own content. Which there's nothing wrong with either or, but I've just
Nothing
been.
wrong
It's just I
with
don't know. It's
it.
just been my thing. I never was too big on social media, but I had a lot of stuff to post. So I like to keep
Yeah.
some type of mystery, keep people guessing. You're right. You don't want to be that type of person where
Yeah.
people can just guess all your moves just because you're, typical or whatever the case is. So I like to keep people guessing as well and just have some mystery for my own my own privacy.
I love that, man.
Right.
You were always an athlete, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Then social media becomes a thing, as you're an adult, and then you hear these terms like fitness influencer and fitness gurus and things like that. How do you navigate that space?
When I first started working out, like really working out, there was none of that. There was no fitness influencer, there was no fitness model. It was just like you get in there, you work out, and you leave. Now we live in a
Yeah,
culture where everybody's recording their workouts now. Like everybody
right.
recording their workouts. And I don't have a problem with it at all. You know what I mean? But
Nah,
it's not something that I really do much of, especially for somebody who has the type of physique most guys would want to attain. You know what I mean? Speaking from experience, somebody sees you and they're like,
yeah,
bro, like you know, we think we're like getting in this shape for
Literally,
other,
when you go on Adobe Images
yeah,
and type in fit guy, you pop up.
yeah, which is crazy, bro. Because like, I've been doing that for all my life, man. Most of my life was, being an
Yeah.
athlete. I played football. I ran track, and it taught me a lot about lifting. It taught me a lot about lifting. It taught me a lot about
Hmm.
myself, and how I navigated it. I didn't really follow the crowd. I wasn't really like, like I should do that too. I was more like, I don't care to do that too much. It just wasn't me. Like I'm pretty sure if I started
Yeah.
way back in 2016 or whatever, doing the fitness influencing thing or whatever the case is, I'd probably be up millions of followers. But it just wasn't me. Another thing too, in the fitness, industry, when I was like a personal trainer, right? I was personally training people, running boot camps, and doing all the training things. And then at some point, I just lost interest in it. You know what I mean? Like I just like, I don't really enjoy doing this, or I don't really want to do this because I don't feel like somebody needs a trainer to tell them to work out better or work out more consistently or be on time or just take it seriously. You know what I mean? So for me, it was more of like,
Yeah.
like from my point of view, even though there are people who do like, having their hand held when it comes to like getting in the best shape of their lives. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when I seen that and I just seen like, all right, well, because at the time that I decided to get out of it, that's when personal training became online. You know what I mean? Where you can train people online, be this fitness
Sure.
influencer, and make all this money. And then at the time, I was in Herbalife as well. I don't know if you've heard of Herbalife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was
Yeah.
in Herbalife
They
for
got a
about.
building downtown.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, and that's one of the reasons why I moved to LA too. I was in Herbalife. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So personal training, Herbalife, and just trying to like pursue a career in in the fitness industry, right? Make a name for myself.
Hmm.
But I feel like it didn't challenge me enough, man. There was something about it that was just like, like I'm not really into this whole, you know, holding somebody accountable for something they should do for themselves. And that's just how I seen it. I was just like, man, this is kind of silly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like telling somebody like, wake up and go out. Let's lose some weight today. Let's eat healthier today. It didn't resonate with me because you don't have to tell me that. You know what I mean? It was so strong with
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be that example for people because I didn't need somebody to tell
Hmm.
me these things. I just looked at somebody that I wanted to be like and then started executing. See what they ate, see what they were working out, see,
Yeah.
like when they were going to sleep, what supplements they were taking. I did it all for myself, so why can't you do it? If you really want that, you would find a way. But there's people who
Right.
are just really good at being trainers, and if that's your thing, you're successful at it, then continue to do that, right? More to you, more power to you. But I just seen what everybody was doing, and I was just like, I don't want to really do that. I want to do something different, right? Totally
Yeah.
out of my range, like acting, like modeling, right? Super out of my range. But let's see where that's gonna take me because whatever, I'm not one to really follow the crowd. And when I seen the crowd of like all these influencers and all this stuff like that, especially the ones who are just kind of like roided up, you know what I'm saying? And all the girls
Yeah. Yeah.
get their body done. I was like, man, this thing is not even real. Like people are out here getting, punked, thinking that you can get this body without having surgery or without having steroids. And I never been the type to take any enhancement. I never took any steroid, no HGH, no everything, the arms, palms, whatever the fuck they're called. None of that, right? I've always been natural, plant
Neither have
based.
I. Yeah.
I take, yeah, I can tell, bro. It's just something you can just see. Like,
Hmm.
guys who take it and guys who don't, it's just a natural thing to have, right? But,
Yeah.
yeah, man, and I didn't really condone for that either, man. I didn't really like the fact that people were, pushing this fake, unnatural way of going about it and stuff like that. So I decided to just kind of like,
Hmm.
go my own path and not really push it too much, but show an example of if you take your health seriously, your fitness seriously, this is what you can, become and achieve.
That's you touched on something that is and that's part of the reason why with the fitness space, and we've had conversations about it. It's so scary now because people do pop online and they're aesthetically pleasing and not always natural.
Yeah.
And so therefore we have normal people who are maybe just starting working out, or maybe don't know anything about fitness itself. Like they might not even know their blood type,
Right.
and they chase these images that are surgically enhanced and chemically enhanced to begin with. And that's the thing that is just so frightening to me. That's part of the reason why I personally don't participate. And for you, it kind of sounds like the same thing.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. I don't really, it's not really me, man.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't blame people who, because a lot of people they compete, right? So if you're like competing,
Yeah, they do.
they
They do.
compete. You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing it to compete with others who are probably enhanced as well. You know what I mean? So that's like
Yeah, and
your
they don't
sport.
judge you based on whether you're natural or not.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
it's like
Right.
I can see why somebody would, like get all types of work done, or maybe they would take roids.
Yeah,
But
exactly, man.
yeah, but for guys like us that work behind our computers, we don't
Right.
need.
Right.
Yo, but I do have to ask you, bro. What's the most annoying gym question that you get?
Annoying gym question.
Yeah, when you're at the gym, what's a question that people
Oh, you know
ask
what?
you
I'll say
consistently?
this right here because it's not even a gym question. But when I tell people or they figure out that I'm vegan, everybody asks like, "Where do you get your protein from?" And I'm just like, I
Mm,
gotten to the point where I've got it hundreds of times that it's just like annoying at this point. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, and I've always asked myself, like I've met people who are vegetarian way before I was vegan. And I never asked
yeah,
them, where do you get your protein? I've never asked, I never thought to ask somebody who's like, I can see why they ask me because I'm just ripped guy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
eat meat? What? Where do you get your protein from?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
like people who are just like, and most of these are women, right? Of course, right? And they're telling me they're
yeah.
vegetarian 7 years, 10 years. And then my first thought isn't like, where do you get your protein from? You know, it's in my head, I'm just like, oh, like you're probably eating a lot of vegetables. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're still eating cheese or whatever the case is. But I never ask people where do they get their protein from. So when I get asked this question, it's it's kind of a trigger. It's a little bit of a trigger. I'm just like, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to convince you that you can get protein.
It's not a hair trigger,
It's
It's
yeah. I'm almost triggered, bro, because I'm
like,
like, man, I gotta convince somebody that you can get protein in other things, other forms than just meat. I'm really not gonna do that
yo,
right now.
you get it from food.
You
Like
get it
that's
from
where
food.
you get
You know,
your.
what do you think your cow gets it from? The cows don't eat meat. Oh, they probably get it from grass. Gorillas don't eat meat. They probably
Yeah,
get it from grass.
yeah,
Elephants don't eat meat. They probably get it from grass. These are all some of the strongest mammals that do not eat meat. Complete herbivores. You know what I mean? So like when people ask me
mm-hmm.
these things, I'm just like, you don't think much. You know, critically think because not everything eats meat. We just so happen to have the intellect to have different options, and we can go different places to have different types of foods. So more of the
Yeah,
population is inclined to eat meat. I get it, but not necessarily you need to get your protein source from meat. So when I do get questions like that,
yeah,
man, I just try and be patient with people because I just realize not everybody's down that road. Not everybody even knows about it. You know what I mean? And that's just one thing that like personally for myself, that I've been able to kind of like pat myself on the back to be in the fitness industry and not eat meat and have physiques better than guys who do eat meat. You know what I mean? And I'm just confused. And here's the
facts.
thing: it's typically the guys who are not like strong and buff and ripped that are asking me, "Do I eat meat? Or where do I get my protein from?" I'm like, bro, you have no protein on. You have no muscle on you. Where do you get your protein? Because it looks like you're deficient in it. You know what I'm saying? The
But
big guys, the rich guys,
yeah,
the big guys, they don't ask me those questions. They know better than to ask questions like that.
they
You know what I'm saying? They're just like, wow,
exactly.
he finds a way to get it. Obviously, look at his
He
golf.
finds a way to get it. You know, I think I have two questions that do trigger me,
Hmm.
and I'm working on it, bro. And it's that patience, and that's the part of the reason why being around people like you who are more patient
Hmm.
is
I can guess these questions too, huh?
beneficial. Yeah, it's my two questions.
Hmm.
one, I think if I'm actually at the gym,
Uh-huh.
is how many sets you got left.
Oh,
I,
whoa.
I never ask anyone that.
Uh-huh.
I just
Yeah,
let them do their thing
exactly.
because I realize it's a respect for the sanctity of the gym.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all it is. And like maybe you could be asking because you're on a time crunch or whatever,
Hmm.
but this is when you this is when you learn about working out. It's like the same thing if there's no 45s available. You do the math with other weights.
Exactly.
With other plates. That's what you do.
Exactly.
Or if the machine that you want
Hmm.
or is not available, you figure out another way to execute the same workout or just wait, man. That's my mindset.
Hmm.
But when people come up and say, "Hey, can you come find me once you're done?" Or they ask me like, "How many sets you got left?"
That's
And then, "Can you
wild.
come find
Now
me
that's wild.
once you're done?" Um, yeah, nah. So that grinds my gears. In the
Yeah.
words of people.
Nah, that's come find me. That's crazy. You're the one who needs it. You should come look for me.
It might just be a Planet Fitness thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like people would be more inclined to ask dumb questions like that because I personally, I may have gotten it a few times. Yeah. And I'm just like, and
Hmm.
like I said, bro, it's typically the people who are just like, they're not as fit, right? They're very curious, but they're not as fit. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't want to judge people or whatever, but you see them so anxious to come over and get the Smith machine, but lift the bar,
Exactly.
for 80 reps.
I know, bruh. I don't know what it is.
The second question is when people ask me what type of supplements to do I take.
Uh-huh. As if all our bodies are the same.
They're attributing the supplements to the physique,
Hmm.
and I feel like that disregards everything else that I'm doing. So you're
All the
saying that
hard
it's
work.
not the nutrition and it's not the workout.
Hmm.
It's not the rest that I'm getting or
Hmm.
the water intake.
Right.
It's purely the supplements. That's the only piece that you need. There's no magic pills
There
for
isn't.
consistency, man.
There really is.
Yeah,
And
you
you
can
should tell
take
them
all the
that.
ashwagandha and you know Irish sea moss that you want, but it's not gonna
Nah, it's
it's
true.
not gonna fix you eating and putting trash in your body.
It's true, bro. Even if somebody takes steroids, I let people know, like, yeah, they taking steroids, but they still have to put in those reps and those sets and eat well. You can't just,
Yes,
you're not just gonna
yes,
take steroids and nothing's like you like just get bulky and buff. Like, no, it's not gonna work like that. You still have to put in the
yeah,
time, the energy, and the eating right. The supplements are just like a
right,
byproduct of what you can be if you do it right. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's a good question,
yeah,
but you're asking the wrong question. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You're asking the person the wrong question.
And this is why I teeter totter between
Hmm.
the space or whatever, my love for the space, because I just realized that more so than giving people another goal to aspire to,
Hmm.
I really see that people need to be educated.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that acronym PEACE. Positive education always corrects errors. And so just wanting to restore things like gym etiquette
Hmm.
and get people to realize and help people to understand that hey, every single thing that you do affects the space.
Right.
What made you start working out for real, for real?
I mean, I always kind of wanted to be this pretty insanely, fit person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it helped that I played football because then I learned a lot about working out, and it felt good. It really did felt good. Remember, I remember going to college and playing football, and after football practice, I would be like one of the few guys that would actually go to the gym and work on their, strength and their physique after. And I started getting a lot of recognition from the other football players that were just kind of like, casual with their, their bodies or whatever the case is. And they're like, oh, you were real fit, bro. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I just enjoy it. It feels good. It makes me feel good. I think it's just the feeling that I get, the sense of power, strength, right? That I get in there. And then it's therapy at this point, uh, so late into my journey in fitness. It's honestly become therapy, at this point. So I enjoy the elements of it, how it makes me feel in the moment, before and after. And then the byproduct obviously is a nice physique, optimum strength and health, increased, immunization, and aesthetically, you just look better to people. You feel more confident about yourself, right? Because I can imagine people, not being their best selves and having the most confidence ever. Not, I'm not saying it's not possible, but if you get in the best shape in your life, I promise you, your confidence will skyrocket. And it was the confidence
Right,
behind being in my best shape that got me to really working out more and more, because I just got that much more confident. Because I wasn't always confident. I was always kind of like, not as confident. I was a little down on myself. I didn't know my capabilities until I really started hitting the gym and started gaining that confidence, and it just filled up in other areas, not just in the gym as well. It gives you that sense of like you're disciplined, right? It gives you that sense of
right.
delayed gratification, right? Because some people, they go to the gym and they expect to get the results in, like, what takes 2 weeks really takes 90 days, right? And they're hoping to see it in 2 weeks. So that delayed gratification, knowing that if I go every day for the next 90 days, I will not only feel better but look better aesthetically to myself, right? There's no better feeling than surprising yourself when you look in the mirror, right? You're like, oh damn,
Ooh,
oh,
yeah,
oh damn,
yeah, yeah.
hold up, right? Versus other people
Hmm.
who give you recognition, right? You're just like, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. Maybe you're humbled by it because you're just like, you just know not everybody can attain this physique, and it's a respect, and
Hmm.
you're humbled by it. But when you go to the gym and you're like, damn, okay, I'm really getting some results and it feels good, and that's what I strive for. You know what I mean? It's the self validation and not so much what other people think or how they feel about how I look. I know how I feel about how I look, and I base that off of everything. But it's nice to get some recognition here and there from people. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
You think that's something that you kind of like start to realize in yourself? Like, do you like validation from other people? Like, do people basically when you go to the gym, they're like, "Hey, bro, like you look good." You know what I'm saying? Like, it was that mutual respect that we had with each other, and that's what
Yo,
brought
it
us together.
was.
We're
That
like,
was
"Yo,
what
we'll
that
see
was
you. I
what
see
Jerron said.
you."
Yo, PSA, by the way, for everybody that is in the gym, don't forget to work on your personality because I see people in the gym taking themselves way too seriously.
Right.
If anybody should be smiling, it should be those people that took the time out of their day to get in the best shape of their life.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, that's what I feel, bro. I feel the gym is an environment where you should have fun. You should be having fun there. Because if you think about it, bro, everybody who goes to the gym, bro, are going there to better themselves. What environment can you name
Yeah,
where everybody's going to this environment to better themselves intentionally? Now, some people might be there
yeah.
because they don't want to be there, but they're getting it done regardless. But everybody's there to better themselves. What better environment would you want to be in? You know what I mean? You can't go to a
Hmm.
hospital where everybody's better themselves. Some people are dying. All right,
Yeah,
grocery stores, some people are literally going there to feed themselves poison, right? But in the
yeah.
gym, you got everybody there who has one goal, to leave
Hmm.
1% better, right? And if you incorporate that with the good playlist, maybe some music, maybe ambiance, or you go there with a friend.
That podcast you've been meaning to listening to, maybe like the 360 Creative.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly right.
yeah,
While you're working out, you're getting some value and you're getting you
yeah,
pumped up, and it should be fun, bro. That's why one thing I love about working out is it's really fun to me. I'll be dancing in there in between.
yeah. No, he really does, and Calvin can dance too. Like you mentioned, fitness transferring into your confidence. How has fitness altered your focus?
So it requires a lot of focus in these lifts, especially for the workouts that I do are pretty intense, of course. Um,
Hmm.
like high intensity workouts, just strength training, and it's just you have to be present to really get the best out of your workouts. And if you're dealing with like any situations from the past or at home, like leave all of that. outside at the gym. When you get in the gym, it should be 100% focused on the muscle, right? Super focused.
Right.
Like there would be times where I'm doing a workout and I'm just looking at my muscle the whole time. Like I'm trying to build that mind and muscle connection, right?
Mm,
And that just makes the lifts that much better because I'm so present and I know my body's communicating with itself, um, telling itself to grow stronger, to be bigger. You know what I mean? So it's really being present in your workouts. Now if you can have that in your daily routine, that's even better. But I know soon as I get in the gym, like all problems or whatever I was dealing with, whatever I'm stressing about, whatever that gets left at the door, and I come here and I'm focused in the moment on getting better. That's like the gym is literally the only place where I can do that unintentionally. It just happens because I need this stuff to be good
mm,
because I'm lifting
for
right
sure.
now because this is just what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying every lift is going to be
Yeah.
the best lift, but it's the most focused time of the day for me because I'm 100% present. Because if you put yourself in a situation where you're not focused, you can hurt yourself, right? Especially if you're
Yeah.
alone, you can hurt yourself. So
For
you
sure.
definitely have to be focused on everything and just be present. That's best advice I would give my anybody.
You recently have overcome an injury. Your first injury in all the years that you play sports, all of the years that you've been in fitness. Man, tell the people what happened, man.
So basically, I moved to a new city, and I'm pretty excited to move here, Austin, Texas. It's a beautiful place. During the summer, a lot to do, of course, and you know, when it's nice outside, it's hot outside, you might be more inclined to step out and do some things, maybe go rock climbing, maybe go a hike or whatever the case is. But me and my buddies decided to go play football, and we haven't played football. Well, personally, I haven't played football in like I don't know how long, bro. I really don't know how long. Years, right? I'll just say that. And I guess there was like a high school not too far from us, and then we ended up going to this high school. It's kind of this patchy field. None of us really stretched, thoroughly or, warmed up thoroughly. I did some stretches here and there, maybe did like one sprint. And then we went about playing with some other kids there who went to that high school. I guess they were training during the off season for football. So it was nice to see them just kind of like, working together. And they were like, hey, you want to play 4-on-4, right? So we ended up playing the game, right? First game went really good, and then the second game, the first play, I went to go sprint and I planted in the ground, like I planted my foot. I ended up hyperextending my leg while I planted. I guess I planted in like a very patchy field, and mind you, I'm not wearing cleats. I'm not wearing any sport
Mm-hmm.
related shoes that I could. Well, I can, or the sports related, but they're not like for grass, right? So we're out there sliding around,
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? To just play a fun game. It was no tackle. It was literally just touch, two hand touch. And I planted my foot in the ground and I hyperextended it, right? And I heard a snap, crackle, and pop, and I just immediately went down. I remember the second time I tried to like put some force on it, and it just turned into a spaghetti. I was just like, whoa, right? So I went
Oh,
down holding
yeah.
my knee, and I'm just like, oh my God, did I really just injure myself as if I was playing a live game? And I'm just playing like recreational ball with some random people. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I can't believe this would happen to me. At the one thing I'm
Yeah.
not too mad at, I'm 29, about to be 30, right? And then up until
Yeah.
that injury, bro, like I was going really hard on legs. I'm hard, right? And then my both of my knees were hurting, right? So I can attribute me working out hard those few months back to that point to where that's why that happened because I was just doing
Mm,
crazy. I was lifting like 415, almost 500 pounds sometimes, doing reps of like 12 to 15 on 325 pounds. Like I was going heavy.
and then you went and played
And then I went
football.
to go play football. And up until then, my knees were already hurting. So, like, when that happened and I went down and I was like, fuck, this might be the reason why my knees was hurting already. And then I put so much force in, and then bam. So, what I ended up doing was actually, I went to the emergency room right after and they gave me an x ray. there's not much they could have said they could have seen because they needed like a MRI to see if it was any like my ligaments or anything like that, tendons or whatever the case is. So I had to wait additional 2 to 3 weeks to get an MRI scheduled because I didn't have a doctor out here and my insurance didn't cover it or whatever the case is. And I was just
What were you doing in the meantime to like kind of?
icing it, rest and ice, elevation.
Mm,
That's it. Just a lot of
I
running.
got
You know what I'm saying? Just
you.
elevation, all that, right? Icing, and that's it. That's all I could do. But ended
Yeah.
up getting an MRI a few weeks after, and then basically he was just like, "Yeah, well, on the paper it tells you like everything. Your tendons are intact, your ligaments are intact, your ACL, MCL, all the LCLs are intact, but you did fracture the hardest bone in your body, which is your tibia. It's like the hardest bone to break, right? I ended up fracturing it. And it was like a hairline fracture, so it didn't necessarily need surgery. It just needed to heal on its own.
Yeah.
So I got the best case for my injury. Best case is that you don't need surgery for it. It happened, but you don't need surgery for it. That's the best case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I felt a snap, crackle, and pop. I was sure that was like a tendon or MCL or ACL. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Right. So when I get this MRI, you
Yeah.
telling me that's all intact, and I'm just like, oh my God, really? That's it? I was so happy, bro.
Hmm.
I was happy. I was down, but I was happy because I didn't need surgery.
Yeah.
Because if I need surgery, I'd probably
Yeah.
still not be able to walk now. But now I'm able to walk. And up until then, I was just, on crutches for the last 3 months. Um, doing plenty of rest in here. Just started PT not too long ago, and was able to kind of get those PT sessions out the way. The only thing that I had to deal with was the mental aspect of it because like I moved to a new city and now I'm injured. I can't do nothing. It's the summertime. Like I'm down on myself, right? But I immediately
Yeah.
shifted to like a positive outlook. Like, all right, what is it trying to teach me? Like, what is God doing for me?
Mm,
Because up until then, bro, like
right.
I was gonna move here, and then 2 weeks after, I booked a trip to Colombia to stay there for like a week and a half, right? So I missed out on my trip
Wow.
to Colombia. I missed out on like a super fun summer, right? There's like one time I went to
Hmm.
the pool, but I couldn't really do much but just lay down and watch people have fun. But at least I was able to
Yeah.
go out. But yeah, so I had to really shift
Exactly.
my mental focus on more happy, grateful, and healing, and not just like be this negative person, right? And I think
Right.
that was a test. I think God was just testing me. You know what I mean? Because I've dealt with some injuries, or I've dealt with nothing as serious as this, but I've dealt with things in my life that kind of tested me, right? I tested my character, and I think I did really well with this test. So,
Hmm.
with that being said, your boy is now walking with no crutches, with no brace or anything like that. I'm going up and down the stairs, no
Yo.
problem. There's no pain. Uh, I'm blessed, man. With
Praise
3 months,
God.
bro, I was
Yes.
like, for sure, I'm out for the year, bro. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I'm definitely out for the year. There's no way I'm walking anytime soon. And then when he would tell me
Yeah.
like, oh, like 6 to 8 weeks in my head, I'm like, are you crazy, bro? Like I can't even walk now. So yeah, I'm healed, man. I'm healing and I love it. I love it so much, man. And it's taught me a lot about myself. It was one of those character building moments, and it definitely built me in a very good way. It was a really a good defining moment in my life on how will you deal with this situation. That defines who you are. Like, are you gonna bitch about it? Are you gonna moan about it? Or are you gonna just like be negative towards it? Or are you gonna find the good in it? Right. So I decided to find the good in it and made the best of it. And I think that's what helped me heal faster is because I was thinking more positively about it rather than being down on myself.
What was the good that you were able to find, or what was like the goods playlist?
Being on my being on my ass kind of gave me a lot more time to do things that I wouldn't necessarily do because I was always on go mode. You know what I mean? So it got me more time to read
For
that
sure.
book, to listen to that podcast, to
Hmm.
maybe reach out to individuals, friends and family, like because I was on
Yeah.
my butt, bro, like most of the day, right? If I wasn't sleeping, I was like on the couch and learning some things, learning a lot of new things. So I think there was something that I needed to fine tune in my life that God say, all right, I'm gonna need you to focus down, and you're gonna be injured for a little bit, but this is gonna make you so much money, or you're gonna learn so much more, or you're gonna have so much of an impact on you or somebody else that you were able to take this time for yourself to get this done because you were always on go mode. You never had time to really just sit and just do this. But now I'm giving you the time to do it. So do it.
He had to seat you so he can increase you.
Yeah, he had to like, yeah, all right, slow down, slow down. You'll speed up,
Yeah,
but we need you to slow down in this period.
yeah,
And I'm just like, man, I don't get it. I'm just always in go mode. Don't you want me in go mode?
yeah.
And he's like, nah, not right now, not right now. Right now, I want you to just chill. I just want you to understand this lesson right here because that's just gonna define a lot of things in your life. And that's just how I looked at it, man. Like it could be complete, BS, but like, I'm a big believer on your beliefs, and if you create that belief for yourself, watch it manifest in your life. And, like that's just how I just seen things, man. So I'm grateful for it. Although it did slow me down. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I'll tell you that. I learned a lot, right? Um,
Yeah.
a lot about myself as well. Like I completely changed. I'm definitely not the same person I was 10 years ago when something like this would happen to me. I would have been down in the dumps. I'd have been negative.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm just like, man, this is a really defining moment for me, and I'm able to kind of turn it around for something to see it as something positive, man.
It's a very admirable to see your ability to pivot
Yeah.
through that, moving to a new city and then you get injured, but it didn't stop nothing. You still were able to progress in life in some way.
Yeah.
And which you also not only model, actor, but now you're teaching people cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, did you ever see yourself in that space, and how did that even come about?
I've always thought that I've had like a inclination for like finance and stuff like that. Although nobody in my family is really in finance, I just seen that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of millionaires, multimillionaires, and billionaires like finance is like the language of the rich. You know what I mean? So like, here's a new
Mm,
asset class that has yet to reach mass adoption, but that is literally connected to this fast growing technology, right? And
right.
it benefits the people, and it can also benefits corporations as well if they use it correctly, right? But it's new, right? And in 2020, bro, when COVID happened, I couldn't really do much. I couldn't act or model or anything like that because everybody was like, freaking out about this COVID thing. So that slowed down a lot of work for a lot of people in the industry. So that got people to thinking like, what else can I do? What else can I learn? How do can I make some money? A lot of people maybe, didn't do anything, but I decided to learn how to invest and have money work for me. And when I went down that road, I learned a lot of things, right? Made some mistakes, learned a lot. But it wasn't until I met this one guy who was really passionate about hit crypto. And I seen how passionate he was about it. And me not knowing anything about cryptocurrency, I decided to sit in on a session to watch him teach it. And this was probably at the end of what I thought I would not continue investing because I already lost so much money. I built up a team and that
Mm-hmm.
failed. And I just didn't fine tune the skill enough to really scale my life, right? But then when I got on this session and I learned about cryptocurrency, it was almost as if like I was learning something I shouldn't have been learning. I was just like, how does nobody know this? Like this dude talking about generational
Mm-hmm.
wealth. He's talking about projects before they even become popular, right? He's talking about things that terms that I've never came across before. And all in my head, I'm like, oh, this is like early adoption stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that same year, crypto exploded. That same year this was like months before I was like,
Mm-hmm.
before they call it bull market in crypto, right? So Bitcoin,
Yeah.
yeah, like at 5 grand, 7 grand, right? Nobody knew what NFTs was. Nobody knew what Dogecoins was. But here I am learning about all this stuff, tapping into all his sessions. And he's a great teacher, right? He makes it fun, entertaining, with a lot of information, right?
Hmm.
And for me, I like that. Like I learn better if I'm like if you make it kind of like entertainment, right? If you incorporate some jokes, if you make it kind of
Yeah.
fun, if you make it fun to learn about, people are more inclined to come back and get some more information, right? And once I realized that, once I seen the way he taught and the passion that he had behind it, I was like, oh, this is a no-brainer. This is definitely something that I want to incorporate in my lifestyle and be a part of, right? Because this is like the greatest transfer of wealth that's happening right now. This is the greatest time for that. And I think and I believe crypto's behind that because what it allows us to do as individual people, right? Like having your own rights to your own money, being your own bank. And I see what
Mm.
crypto was enabling for a lot of people across the seas as well, right? We're talking like um, um, borderless transactions. You can send money to anybody in the world in an instant. Like that's pretty powerful. I don't know if you've ever like sent money to somebody in another country, but you got fees on top of like, and it's delayed for 2 weeks, like a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? And crypto solves that within seconds. And somebody in Uganda gets $150,000 within 10 minutes digitally,
Wow.
right? So I just seen the power behind this thing, and I'm just like, man, like once big banks get whiff of what this technology is, like there is no reason why this shit shouldn't just take off. And if you're buying projects at pennies that are soon they're gonna be worth hundreds of dollars, man, you're going to see, but of course you got to be patient, right? But you're going to see a profit yield that will be talked about for generations. Because the numbers that I see in crypto, dude, are staggeringly disturbing in a good way. This is not the same
Mm.
percentages you'll see in stocks, right? Not the same percentages you'll probably see in real estate. But in crypto, the possibilities are almost endless at this point, right? Literally, I've seen people who know nothing about crypto make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Know nothing about crypto, bro. Nothing. They just happen to have the money and put it in the right
Yeah.
project, and boom. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like that's great. That is, I love seeing that because where else can you do that at, right? You can probably do it in stocks, penny stocks, but like it might take some time. Versus crypto, man, you can
Yeah.
do it within a day, within a week, within a month. It's crazy. So the potential that I've seen in this space that made me realize like, hey, like people are gonna need to know about it, and I should start early and make a name for myself so that when the next bull market comes in 2025, I'm already a household name, or I just have that much skin in the game. I'm currently studying for my second certification in decentralized finance with this one company, with this one project
Mm.
called Cardano, and I hold Cardano, right? Shout out to the Emergo Academy. And I'm learning decentralized finance. So this is like the future of our finance, decentralization, where the people get to control the assets and not these banks and these corporations, right? So it's really special to me that I'm able to kind of utilize and understand and be passionate about something so technical early on so that I may make it more simpler for people to understand where this is going. And I'm pretty excited because I've had my profits. I've had my successes in crypto. But I think the biggest thing is having success for others, helping others with that same success because of how easy it is now. So starting early is definitely going to be one of those things for me that I realize like, all right, if I start early, I'm going to get that much of a more leverage and jump on my competition, who's going to probably be looking to do the same thing because at some point this market will become saturated, right? It will become saturated, but as of right now, it's still early. You know what I mean? So like Bitcoin being at what 30,000 right now, that's still cheap, man. We're looking at a project that we're looking at an asset, a commodity that the SC has deemed as a commodity, an asset that can be $100,000 easily, and it's at 30 grand right
Mm.
now. You know what I mean? Ethereum, another project, it's at maybe 1,800. That's easy a $10,000 project, right? And all these other smaller alternative coins. So man, it's technical. It's a technical space. It's so technical,
Yeah.
and I love it. And I love that it's technical because I'm a technical person. You know what I'm saying? Even for some people, like, bro, it gets so technical where you're just like, it changes. It's evolving and it changes, and you gotta keep up with it. You know what I mean? So, especially with
Right.
regulation now, right? But I don't know, man. I just found something that I was passionate about, and I found some success in it, and then now it's something that I want to take more seriously, and travel the world and meet other people in this space, and just kind of like move with the future. You know what I mean? And I feel like crypto is one of those lanes that's gonna make a big impact in my life, and hopefully I'm able to do that for others as well by being an educator, an investor, or just an influencer in that space. Because there's people who are doing it right now.
How can we keep up with Calvin? And what most of all, like, what does Calvin want us to know that he's up to right now?
So for sure, bro, you can definitely reach out to me at my personal page, Plant Based CJ, on Twitter, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and then my crypto page, Finesse Crypto, also on TikTok and IG as well. Currently, what I'm working on is more heavily into credit specialization,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm working with my business partner, helping people build their credit and getting them funded, their business funded as well. So if there's anybody who would want to, just, increase their credit score, get inquiries deleted off their, credit report and get business funding too. Maybe they have a business idea, but they don't know how to get funded for it. We all help with that. So that's what I've been working on recently because I learn from helping people. Like the best way for me to learn is actually helping is doing for others as well. So it's awesome that I get to utilize my own success and own results in building a good credit score and helping people, do the same as well. Um, and I'm working on getting my second certification with Armergo. This is a blockchain company founded by Cardano, and I'm in like week 4 of it. It's like a 6-week course and a lot of information, but just working on becoming more informative to help others as well. So I'm working on becoming a better teacher, presenter, speaker as well, but just overall networking with other people. But yeah, you can find me at Plant Based CJ if you just want to chop it up, get to know your boy, and get some real wisdom and just kind of share value with each other as well, like we're doing here.
Like we're doing right now, man. Yeah, man. CJ, blessing to have you, brother. I just want to say thank you for just being in my life. Really just holding me down through the years, brother, man. I really appreciate that. And y'all, this is the 360 Creative Podcast. Until next time, we out.